Garcia? Okay. All righty, I think we're good to go now. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. on June 10th, 2024. And Mr. Garcia, if you'd like to do if you could please do roll call, I'd appreciate it.
I'll go ahead and do it, Ms. Molina Garcia.
Oh,
It's Yolanda.
okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Brianna Chilius.
Here, present.
Gabriel Garcia. Vanessa Garcia.
Present.
Lucy Labosha. Melissa Molina Garcia.
Here.
Bets Putnam Hidalgo.
Here.
Ken Richings.
Present.
Luke Skiba.
I'm here.
Gloria Soto Wilson. And Tanya Walker.
And Ms. Barboa there.
Present.
My apologies. There's someone in the attendee room.
Do we know who it is?
I think it may be Ms. Labosha.
It's a 668 cell phone number.
Okay, let me just, if it's an attendee, I'll put him back in attendee. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello? Who's
Hello,
it?
can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
who is this?
It's Lucy.
Okay. Okay.
Lucy Labosha.
Okay.
Yes.
Either I'm going crazy or somebody's got some very cool music in the background.
I'm not hearing any music.
It just turned off.
Okay,
It's entirely possible that I'm going crazy.
it's okay. You're in good company. Okay. Yolanda, is roll call complete now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, we're moving to reading and approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections to our last meeting minutes from April 15th?
Ms. Molina Garcia, we still have agenda adjustments and then the call to the
okay.
audience as well.
Okay, agenda adjustments. We do not have anything to the agenda adjustments at this time. Hopefully next meeting we'll be able to discuss any upcoming new issues.
Is this also an opportunity to address the last meeting, our first meeting?
No, agenda adjustments is if you want to move items up on the agenda, if you want to like make one of the study actions item like before or after call to the audience. This is where you would do that.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we have that taken care of. Then we go to the call to the audience now, correct?
Correct, and we did not receive any call to the audience comments.
Okay, so then action items, section 4, if you're following on the agenda, it's approval of the Alternative Education Advisory Committee meeting minutes from April 15th, 2024. Does anyone make a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, any seconds?
I second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, it looks like those meeting minutes from April 15th have been approved. Yolanda, did you get the names?
So, I still have a question. When is there an opportunity to redress the meeting from last from our first or previous prior meeting? Is there an opportunity to do that? I
Yes,
just have some concerns that I wanted to bring up.
yes, that, it looks like that would be in section 5.02 in the meeting schedule, so then we can discuss whatever future things we need to discuss.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
For
You're
the
welcome.
approval of the minutes, you have to ask for all in favor and
Okay.
any opposed.
Okay. Can I get those in favor of approving the minute meetings from April 15th? I guess if you can, do you want them to raise their virtual hand or just say aye?
They can just say aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
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 Miss Molina Garcia,
Yes.
it's Vanessa again. If you could just ask if there are any nays and any abstentions,
Okay.
that way we have all of the numbers for any
Okay,
of the
perfect.
options. Thank
Are
you.
there any nays to approving last meeting minutes? Are there any abstentions from approving those minutes from April 15th?
I will abstain. Lucy Lavosia.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
And then if you, I'm sorry to bug. And then if you could just mention, the minutes have been approved,
Okay,
unanimous
perfect.
approval. Well, actually not
Oh.
unanimous, but
Okay.
that they have been approved with one abstention.
Okay. The minutes from April 15th have been approved with one abstention. Okay, great. All right. So now can we move to the study action items in section 5 of the agenda? Are we able to do that now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So our first action item is to review the Alternative Education Advisory Committee charter. Does everyone have access to the charter in front of them right now?
No,
No? Okay.
does if everyone
Vanessa,
else does, I can.
okay.
No.
Would it be helpful if I share my screen?
Yeah,
Okay, all right. Let me go ahead and
Yes.
share my screen. All right, can everyone see the minutes there or the charter?
yeah,
Does that make it easier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. 1 second, let me fix my screen so I can see everyone's faces here. All right. So I believe the first thing with our charter that we need to look at is just the overall mission and how things have changed since the initial creation of these. We have invited several stakeholders within the community or within the district. We have Mr. Frank Armenta, who's our assistant superintendent for the alternative education. We have the director of Dr. Yolanda Nunez, who also is one of our supervisors. We have Michelle Sigafis, who is the wonderful and talented principal of TUVA. So I think it's important that we start off with what are we looking at in terms of rewording our charter, but I also think it's more important to hear directly from the key stakeholders within the realms of alternative education. Mr. Armento, can you discuss how the role of alternative education has changed over the last couple of years since COVID and what integral part you have in providing more options for our students?
Yeah, so good evening, board members, committee members. Thank you for allowing us this opportunity. As stated, I am the assistant superintendent over leadership and student success, specifically in the area of student success. We're talking about all our alternative education programs, better known as alternative pathways to student success. And so with your permission, Madam Chairman, if I could have Dr. Yolanda Nunez kind of give you an overview of the alternative pathways to student success, and then specifically drilling down to TUVA on what it currently operates and what it looks like. And I think it could give you that opportunity to give you an understanding of what those programs look currently in alternative pathways to student success. So, Madam Chairman, if I could have Dr. Yolanda Nunez share screen so she can provide that overview and what we're currently doing. And then at the end of that, I will then have Ms. Sigafus share with you as the board, with you in the committee, what TUVA currently looks like. And then in that transition, I'll give you kind of the journey where we got to today.
Okay, great. Dr. Nunez, you can go ahead and share your screen now.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Just start the slideshow. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Yolanda Nunez, and for the past 3 years, I've been overseeing the alternative programs. And for the last year, I've been working under Frank Armenta's department to enhance what we already had in our school district. So the outline for my presentation today is our APAS options, also known as alternative pathways to student success, a referral process that we worked on this school year. I'll also talk a little bit about credit recovery and our enrollment in credit recovery, and then some of the collaboration pieces that we did this school year, and then I'll talk a little bit about next steps. So currently what we have is we have 5 different options for students to participate in alternative pathways. Our first line of support is always at the student's high school, and that is called the Credit Recovery Expansion. So the Credit Recovery Expansion is available at every high school. It allows students to have a flexible schedule. So if a student needs to recover credits, they're able to take credit recovery before school, after school, and then there's also a strand during the school day so that they can recover credits. And this is very helpful, especially for students who have multiple credits to recover. We do have supports at the school to allow students to enroll in this program, and we also speak to the counselors as well as the administration to ensure that students are recovering credits. The next support that we have is TUVA, and TUVA has 2 strands. One is the self-scheduled side of TUVA. This used to be the Cole High School. This is asynchronous, self-paced. They have a weekly check-in and tutoring with highly qualified teachers. It is appropriate for self-motivated students and students who are already adulting, if you will. This strand allows students to continue their high school graduation goals while working or supporting their families, or doing other stuff where the traditional school schedule might not fit in their life. It also benefits students who are on the move. We have students who do travel, who are on traveling sports teams, and so this really helps them too. The other side of TUVA is the teacher-led component of online instruction, and this is real-time instruction, and this is synchronous. So students follow a bell schedule, and there's teacher support throughout the day. The benefit of being in this strand is that students get to connect and work with other students, with their peers. Excuse me. Our alternative high school is Project More. Last year, we received a school letter grade of an A. It is a standards-based curriculum, and it is available to sophomore, juniors, and seniors. We do have small class sizes, and what we did this year is we changed from a semester schedule to a trimester schedule, which allows students to earn 1 to 1.5 credits more per year than with a traditional semester schedule. We switched the instructional model from being online, excuse me, to more in-person instruction where it's direct instruction. And we also have a credit recovery / graduation lab for students. The students who attend Project More are either sophomores who aren't finding success, sophomores, juniors who are not finding success at their high school, and also seniors who are true seniors or 5th and 6th year seniors as well. The other alternative that we have for to support teenage parents is the Teenage Parent High School. Both moms and dads can come to this school. Currently we have 3 nurseries ranging anywhere from babies are 6 weeks old to 2 years. They age out at 2 years old. TAP did receive a school letter grade of a B last school year. It's also a standards-based curriculum. It is direct instruction. We do have a credit recovery lab as well. And we accept any teenage parent regardless of the credit situation. We have a couple of support groups that occur during the day or during the week. We have Boys to Men that comes in as well. And we also have prenatal and birth education for parents. This school year, we were building an APAS foundation, Alternative Pathways to Student Success. So what we did is we realized that there was a lack of communication between traditional high schools as well as between traditional high schools and Project More and TAP, and sometimes TUVA because TUVA was going through that transition. So I had a monthly meeting with high school administrators to talk about what their concerns were and to kind of flesh out a system that we could all use to ensure that students were being supported, either at their school or moving them to another alternative setting. So we collaboratively worked towards a shared referral system. And then I presented the APAS options to MTSS facilitators, high school counselors, dropout prevention staff, and enrollment ambassadors. And what's important there is that there were so many departments who didn't know what we offered. So the communication piece and the marketing piece was key this year. And I also presented APAS to Youth on Their Own because I know that Youth on Their Own is very present both at Project More and at TAP. So I wanted to make sure that they knew that there were options for students that they worked with. And then one of the big lifts that we did this year is we started a marketing and communications campaign. I shot an informational video with our communications department. We updated the website landing page, and then we also wrote an article for the Arizona Bilingual Magazine. The referral process that we had a monthly meeting with Principal Alyssa Welsh from Rincon, Kevin Amadon, Bobby Estrella, Elizabeth Rivera, Judy Mitchell, Dr. Kelly Bristow, and Carla Martinez. It was important to have a from administrators across the district. And it was also important that we included Ms. Welsh on these monthly meetings due to the ELI questions and all of these pieces. It was important just to be transparent there. We collectively work towards a common referral process to ensure that students are placed in successful situations. And then we also talked to the high school administrators agreed to a common intake system because everyone had slightly yet.
Dr. Nunez, you're cutting out a bit, at least on my
This
end.
process, as long as they followed it. We improved communication through this process. We improved communication between high schools, Project More, and TUVA, as well as things that came up consistently in the early meeting. Did not want anybody to that they were turning kids away. They wanted to make sure we had a system in place where students felt if students were referred to Project More or to TAP, that they are back once they recover the credits. The credit that is housed at each high school and is available student before school, after school, and during school hours as well. We launched that in August of 2022. And if you can see these numbers, you know, there was like one freshman that was enrolled and 50ers that were enrolled, and then the 11th and 12th graders. The data from TUS realized that 10th graders across the board every year, and we were losing them anywhere between October and December, and they wouldn't come back. We knew we had to do something, so.
Dr. Nunez, can you hear me, Dr. Nunez?
I think she's frozen. I'll jump in until she comes back. I don't know if you want to mute her and then she can come back. So is that possible?
I'm
Yes,
okay.
we
I'm
can
just
do
curious.
So I'll stand in here, and again, as stated, this initiative was launched in August of 22 with the guidance of Dr. Trujillo. Again, looking at some of our data that we had that identified that we were losing our students at that end of the first quarter going into the second quarter. Dr. Nunez, you were breaking up, so I just jumped in if that was okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's
If you
fine.
could put the slide back up. I think we also had a question on that.
Which
And
one?
you can go back to where it was that we're talking about the credit recovery expansion project. We were just going through the initial phase there again, and identifying that the trend data over the 10 years identifies that those students were leaving at that time for charter schools. So we wanted to make sure that we address that. In addition, as the ambassadors were doing, the enrollment ambassadors were doing their work, they also were asking us, asking the department to give some options as well to keep our students at the school. So it was very important that feedback from the enrollment ambassadors were getting to our department to ensure that we were listening to the needs that they needed, especially since they had high contact with our families. So that initiative launched itself in August. And then the other key part of this was to make sure that we had someone called a learning liaison. The learning liaison was somebody who was identified at the site to support those students as they transitioned. So again, you can identify, as Dr. Nunez states, that we started with 50 10th graders at that point. And over time, we can see that we've gotten to these numbers to your right. But what's also significant about these numbers is that this is our board approved the response to intervention for credit recovery loss through ESSER. So this year we were able to indicate that moving forward that we'll be able to have some sort of general funding for our principals to have, so that these classes will be offered as we come into the next school year 24 and 25. So Mr. Shiba, you had a question?
It was no question. It was just I couldn't hear the
Okay.
conversation, so I was like,
All right, I apologize. I don't know if you want to go back into presentation mode, Dr. Nunez. And again, if you're breaking up, I don't mind jumping in.
Can you see my screen now or no?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
We certainly
Okay.
can. Yeah, if you just go back
Okay.
into presentation mode. But
Okay.
we found that this credit recovery expansion project was very, very successful. And the other part of this is that Dr. Nunez joining this department has ensured to going out to every high school and meeting with these principals and assistant principals that oversee this to make sure that she's getting continuous feedback and that we're providing the accurate support, appropriate support, not accurate, appropriate support for the needs of our site schools. So if you want to continue, Dr. Nunez.
Okay. So one of the main things that I've prided myself in this year and last year was just ongoing communication and collaboration with different stakeholders. Most importantly, I had to start with administrators, counselors, the MTSS department, and other support staff, just to kind of see what was going on and what the need was, and not only what students needed, but what they needed for students as well. And then we also communicated with parents, guardians, and students just to ensure that we're hearing their voice as well. And then, talking to them and promoting the alternative pathways to student success. And then the next step would be bringing in dropout prevention, enrollment ambassadors, and strengthening our collaboration with MTSS. So this year I focused on administrators and counselors and started the collaboration with MTSS. And next year those pieces will be strengthened. But I'll reach out more to dropout prevention and enrollment ambassadors. And what this does is it really provides for a smooth transition for students, not only from their schools to APAS schools, but back to their home schools, and it accommodates students' needs and choice. And most importantly, it also creates a partnership between families, schools, and alternative education. And one of the things that's important for me, knowing how many resources we have, but maximizing those resources and putting them in the right places for students to be successful. Our progression this year, we started with lacking an aligned intake and referral process. We had poor communication between high schools and alternative ed. We needed clarity regarding the enrollment ambassador role, and we needed an early system to identify struggling students. Where we are now is we have a clear identification of our alternative pathways and where students can be served in the best possible way. We have an aligned intake system / referral process. We've improved communication between high schools and alternative education. And we've included enrollment ambassadors and have made them aware of this referral process. Our next steps is to implement the referral process. We did a pilot this last semester, and we were ready to go into full implementation for the 24-25 school year. We need to provide training to staff on the referral process, mostly those staff members who will be involved with this. That would include administrators, counselors, registrars,
MTSS?
and office managers. And have a stronger communication with enrollment ambassadors, and then continue refining the communication between high schools and alternative education. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to see if this plays. My internet is a little patchy today, but I'm going to see if this plays. So this is the marketing video that I shot in December. It was a little uncomfortable because it's not really what I do, but I think it came out okay. So I want to share this with you.
Yolanda, you may need to share it with sound.
Yeah.
You might need to stop your share and then reshare. There's a little box at the bottom that checks the sound.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Um,
So if you want to stop your share, and then if you then reshare after you stop your share,
okay.
and you see the white screen where it shows you all the different screens you can share, there should be a little box down at the bottom that says share audio.
Nope, I don't see it.
I think it's
It's on the
if
right.
you-
Sorry, share sound on the
Yeah.
right hand side. It's a little different because it's a webinar. My apologies.
Layout and options. Layouts.
Yeah, and it's right
Yes.
below options. It says share sound.
No, I don't see that on my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Tucson Unified School District families.
I'm Dr. Yolanda Nunez, and I am the Director of Alternative Education. I am pleased to present all of the amazing opportunities that we have created to help students meet their graduation requirements. We understand that sometimes life gets in the way that hinders students' progress towards their graduation goals. So what we have to offer is some opportunities at each high school, and then we also have some opportunities that are out of students' original homeschool. So the first option that we have is at each high school. We understand that each student wants to stay in their home school and they want to stay with their friends and their community. So the first line of support that we have for students in meeting their graduation goal is the credit recovery expansion that is offered for every high school student at each high school. So this option allows students to stay at their school while at the same time recovering credits that they may have missed. This is an amazing opportunity for students, especially for those who can't fit credit recovery into their daily schedule, because what this program does is it helps students recover credits before and after school. For students whom the traditional school setting does not work, we have 2 additional schools that might be appropriate for them. We have Tucson Virtual Academy, or TUVA, and Project More. TUVA offers 2 strands. We have a self-directed strand, which is more appropriate for students who are self-motivated and who are adulting in their lives and may not fit a traditional school schedule in their daily lives. The teacher-led side of TUVA is appropriate for students who are successful in a structured virtual classroom. This is best for students who need to stay home for various reasons. Students enrolled in this strand follow a BAL schedule and have teacher support throughout the day. Project More is a high school with small class sizes. It offers the same standard-based curriculum as all the other high schools. However, students are able to receive individualized support to help get them to their graduation goals. The difference between Project More and a traditional high school is that Project More offers a trimester schedule, which means that students can gain an additional credit per year, hopefully getting them to their graduation goal in a faster fashion. Project More also offers a credit recovery / graduation lab. Teen parents also have an amazing opportunity to reach their graduation goals. Our Teenage Parent High School provides young parents the opportunity to reach their graduation goals while their babies are cared for in our nurseries. Additionally, our Teenage Parent High School provides parenting classes, postpartum support, a dad's group, and prenatal and birth education. So if you or your child find yourself in a situation where you feel that they can't meet their graduation goals, please don't give up. We have plenty of personalized options to help your child reach their graduation goals. Please contact us at 520-225-3250. Hello, Tucson Unified School District families.
Thank you for sharing that video, Dr. Nunez. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the committee?
Any feedback or anything that you would like to add or comments, that would be great. Thank you.
I have quite a few questions and comments.
Okay.
Will the before and after school kind of credit recovery at Tucson High was like known as 0 and 8th period? Those that FTE was funded through ESSER. Is that going to be an option for principals to keep because they have additional funds for it, or is it going to be the same amount of funds and they're just trying to squeeze it in and make it work?
I'll defer that to Mr. Armenta.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Ms. Skiba. I think one of the things that we've demonstrated is that we have an effective program that is addressing those needs. And if it's someone like you who's working in credit recovery before after school, it's been successful because of teachers like you across our district. So we showed with those numbers that it is valuable. And so one of the things that Dr. Nunez and I did, we provided this information to finance. And so we were able to secure the current funding level for those FTEs. So it's not out of their current budget, but we were making sure that they had it. So Again, the teachers that were in there demonstrated that it's a valuable program for us. So yes, the funding will continue, and it will not be from their existing budget. It was provided for them. So those levels will be going into 24-25.
Nice. Okay, awesome. It was, yeah, it's a great program. Many of my students who would just say had a normal job would show up just towards the end of the day to do, and yeah, I got several kids there because of 0 and 8th period. So 0 period, I have to say, was a little bit more challenging, but the students who needed it, right? So it was really important. The other question, and I'm sorry I have to say so much, it moves on to sort of like this initial credit. I know that at Tucson High, we would offer initial credit for students who had extenuating circumstances. And I also know that I don't know if we necessarily want to advertise that we accept initial credit, but in this kind of like, I like the whole, the credit recovery expansion. Like, to me, that sort of seems like we're trying to build just options and different pathways for students to get there. Is there a way that we can talk about initial credit a little bit more clear? Because even me as a teacher who would give initial credit sometimes in an alternative form, like I couldn't really wrap my head around the rules and like how to get things approved or not approved, or if it was appropriate for the student to take it with me or not take it with me.
Yeah, and so for those of you who are not familiar with the word initial credit, for credit through our platform called Apex, that's where students get the credit through our instructional platform. Initial credit means the students taking this course for the very first time. They have not had an instructor teacher, they have nobody, so they're starting from the beginning. And so in that process, there is a way that a student will have to take that initial credit. And one of the things that had happened when I entered this position is there was a need for students who needed to take initial credit because they were trying to recover the credit. And so we offered that initial credit as a way for them to get caught back up to where they were at. Also, there are schools that use initial credit. For example, I'll just use Cholla High School for International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. Students have so many classes that they're filled that they may need to take their health class. They may need to take a government class that's out of sequence. So we offer that through initial credit. So the student can do that on their own. Also, and this is also with the TUA presentation, there are 8th graders who take initial credit at their site. So it is offered in that manner. So it was based off of need. But through this process, as we're starting to refine it, we have deferred more towards our curriculum and instruction Assistant Superintendent Dr. Flory Hewitt to provide us guidance on when and when not to use that initial credit. But again, through the process that you all have gone through as the credit recovery teachers, providing us that feedback, and then also working with Apex, we're gonna get to a place where hopefully we'll be able to have that calibrated appropriately. But again, we want to make sure that those students have access to initial credit, or also known as accelerated credit.
Program. Thank you for your guys' response for sure.
I just need to break in and say that did not, I still don't understand what initial credit is. I'm sorry. I need like a super simple ABC sort of description of it. Is it credit you get without?
Yeah, I'll defer that to Ms. Sigafis to give a little more clarification on initial credit because it falls under her area most often.
Okay. So initial credit, like Mr. Armenta said, is when the students take the class for the first time. So they've never taken the class before, they haven't failed it. So a lot of credit recovery is they took a class, they failed it, now they have to retake it. For initial credit, they've never taken the course. Now there could be 2 reasons they've never taken the course. It could be because they're an 8th grader and they're taking an accelerated path. So we're going to give them that initial course in 8th grade to be able to get ahead. It could also be because it's, a student failed Algebra 2 or Algebra 1 a couple of times. failed geometry a couple of times. Now they're a junior or a senior. They've never even taken algebra 2, but they took algebra 1 and geometry in credit recovery, but now they're a junior or senior and they should have already taken algebra 2. They may need to take that course for initial credit. So they've never taken that course before, but it still is credit recovery because they didn't take it within sequence. Does that help?
Yeah, a
Awesome.
lot. Thank you.
I think even that, even how you were defining it there, it gets like you kind of flip words a few times and it's really hard to follow sometimes. But initial credit is not really credit recovery. It's just taking the class, like you said, for the first time. And you're not recovering the credit, but you're just simply trying to get the student back to where they're supposed to be, even though they're taking it the first time.
Yes, sir.
That's well put.
Yeah, right. My last question, in the video we just watched, Dr. Nunez, which was incredible. Thank you for making that, because like any marketing stuff that I could have gotten my hands onto, I would have used, because I just try to get kids to advocate for themselves. But you said, so you're on a Project More is on a trimester. So does that allow them to recover a full credit or a half credit in addition to the normal year?
It really depends on the student, but some students can recover a half credit, some students can recover 1 credit, and there's been a few that have recovered 1.5.
Oh, okay. So it's, even though it's it's like a it's a standard class and there's 3 different semesters, but each semester is a half credit class, right? Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm seeing the heads nod. Okay, cool. And then I think that was all of my questions. Hopefully I didn't open up too many can of worms.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
And Brianna, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Nunez, thank you so much for the presentation that allowed me to learn a little bit more about APIS, which is really needed for when I work, my realm is in children's services, but I sometimes dip into teen services at the library. And so kind of learning about the acronyms and like the educational initiatives of what's happening within TUSD, it really does helpful. It's super helpful. So this is an amazing initiative. It really kind of addresses educational inequities, one of the major educational inequities. So this is really fantastic. Thank you so much. And you were awesome in that marketing video. I must say.
Thank you.
Of course, I do have so I'm really curious, and it kind of prompted a question within your presentation. So one of the slides did describe, so this credit recovery enrollment program kind of created a way to kind of like identify an early warning sign for when the students will need to take action to be involved in this process. I'm just really curious to know, when exactly is it introduced to the student? And of course, I'm going to be a little bit, I will admit, ignorant. So please forgive my ignorance as I'm learning more within the venues, and like just learning about just the processes within. I did a little bit of homework before today's meeting, but your presentation did bring out a lot of questions that I'm very curious on. Introducing the APEX, and then also how and when that is introduced to the student. So when exactly is it? Because it sounds like there are early intervention measures kind of involved to kind of like not lose the student and have them not completely fall off the wagon, and still help them on the journey to graduate. We want them to succeed post-secondary education. So I guess one of my questions is, when is this introduced to the student and to their family, of like when exactly is it shown to them that they are in danger of possibly not being able to continue their educational journey? When does that occur?
So high schools identify.
If I may, Miss, sorry to interrupt. If I may interject really quickly, we're way off of the topic for the agenda. And I think if we continue this discussion, it could constitute a violation of open meeting law, since it wasn't really properly agendized to get into this whole discussion on these programs. The agenda item is about the charter And I just think we need to get back to the agenda so, you know, we don't get in trouble. So,
Yeah,
Ms.
you, Ms. Shaw.
Garcia, thank you.
Yes, I just want to address the reason why I invited the Alternative Education Committee members here is because I wanted the team, our committee, to have an overall picture of what each program serves. So let's, I don't know, Vanessa or Yolanda, can I circle back to any questions at the end? Because I do feel we did invite Ms. Sigafis and we did invite Mr. Macias here because, again, our whole goal is to look at the charter and the mission needs to reflect what we have currently at the moment because this mission is outdated. It's from March 24th to 2023. So we need to reflect as to what we have now in the district as of 6/10/24. Does that make sense?
yeah. May I offer a quick suggestion? So,
Sure.
in the interest of time and to make sure that we meet kind of what the objective of the agenda item is, I would recommend that we go through the mission and go through each of the programs and use the experts that we have here to let us know whether that program is still relevant to what should be our charter and just generally what they would benefit from us advising them on. And if we could just go through each program just in the charter, literally line by line, say, okay, so first one is TUVA, obviously very relevant. So we can just have someone speak specifically to TUVA's mission and what the administrators would benefit from us advising them on.
Okay. So we'll start off with Tuba, then we will go to TAP and Project More. Ms. Sigafis, go ahead, please.
If I may
Okay.
interject, Madam President,
Yes.
if I may interject. So just to kind of give, again, Mr. Macias is the principal of Project More and of TAP, and kind of what Dr. Nunez covered would be helpful is what he can address a little more specifically. But with respect to TUVA, I do want to make sure that the committee members know that that TUVA was approved in October 2012 by our board to move into what we call an Arizona online instructional platform. Prior to that, everyone knows that everyone within TUSD knows that we used Tucson Unified Virtual Academy as our way to address the COVID situation and when we were going into remote. Dr. Flory Hewitt had an idea of creating this. So along with Ms. Sigafis and Richard Sanchez, TUVA was created and put into action. But I do want to let you all know at this point, we are coming to the closure of what we call the merger of this year, meaning we kept components of COLE in place to make sure that we address the needs of those students who were in COLE. And COLE stands for Catalina Online Education. So learning. So that is now going to go by the way. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Sigafis to tell you a little bit of what happened this year and where she currently stands in her program. And again, she is the current principal of the Tucson Unified Virtual Academy.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, board members, for having me out tonight. I appreciate that. So I want to start with I won't go through the whole presentation because I know you guys have the other things to do, but I do want to make sure to push that we did this year, like Mr. Armenta said, become our own school. So that has been a very exciting experience for us this year. Our mission, just so you know, is for TUVA is committed to building community by fostering an inclusive learning environment that nurtures academic success using emerging virtual technologies. So it's all about creating student success with technology. And our vision is to create and implement a virtual learning environment that promotes lifelong learners who are successful in the classroom and beyond. So again, our goal is really to teach our kids how to learn and be successful moving forward. We do service a lot of students who are 21 that start with us and finish throughout their 22nd year. Like if they start with us when they're 21, they can finish out the semester. So we do service a lot of those students, as well as just our what I would call a run-of-the-mill student that might need to be online for any general reason. We do offer a lot of dual credit. Let me just want to share this slide with you. We do offer a lot of dual credit opportunities for our students to be able to, hold on, I don't think it grabbed the right. Are you guys seeing programs and offerings? Okay, perfect. It grabbed the right screen. We do offer a lot of dual credit and AP courses for our students, and we do support ALE for our district, which is the Advanced Learning Experience, which means that we do service schools that would like to provide for 7th and 8th grade students high school credits, but they may not have teachers who are available to give those high school credits. So they will take it either in our teacher-led courses or in our self-paced courses. Students are expected, if they're in self-paced, we do 11-month instruction, so it's not like a normal school year where our teacher-led follows our district calendar. But our self-paced students, they're able to work 24/7, weekends, holidays, everything except for the month of June. So that's where our program resets. So I just wanted to kind of give you that that visual, as well as being able to offer things like Minecraft for Education, being able to offer esports. So we've got lots of exciting programs. We even offer Zoom lunchrooms because we want our students to be able to participate in the same things they'd be able to do at a regular school. That includes eating lunch with friends. So we offer Zoom lunchrooms. And then we also try to offer all kinds of in-person activities so they can still get that in-person, both self-paced or self-scheduled and teacher-led, all have the opportunity to do these in-person meetings. So we do want to really try and offer everything that a brick and mortar has for our wonderful students.
Just a reminder that we need to just discuss what's on the charter for this item, so we can't go into a lot of details about the programs, okay?
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Sikafis, do you have anything else to add about the uniqueness of TUVA?
Well, and just because I don't know what's on your charter, but I just wanted to give you just a very brief rundown of all the things that are important to us.
The charter doesn't really have anything specific to the programs. It just has the actual program names. Okay. Mr. Macias, thank you for joining us. Would you like to talk briefly about TAP and Project More?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Israel Macias. I'm the principal of Project More and TAP. So Project More, we continue to kind of like a probably a vision of providing a tier 3 service for the district. So providing services for students who have not been successful in the traditional setting, and those are for a lot of various reasons. Whether they're mental health issues, whether it's just disengagement in the traditional to high schools, and they need an alternative setting. So at Project More, right now we're running a trimester schedule, and our trimester schedule is broken up into 6 quarters, and those quarters are we've kind of like expanded all of our instructional minutes to be able to give out 7.5 credits in 1 year versus maybe your 6 credits or 7 credits. And at the same time, we also offer credit recovery. So something that we learned from our past instructional model, where we're a little bit more of credit recovery. We learned some great things from credit recovery, and so we know that there's a place in a brick and mortar school. And so when students are severely credit deficient and or they're not meeting their classes in our master schedule, in order to meet graduation requirements, we can offer that credit recovery lab. So there's some similarities with the clientele that we serve, because we also have in older students. Right now, our average age is about 18 and a half years old. So a lot of students at Project More tend to be 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Like I said, is reasons as to why they're not being successful in traditional high school. At TAP, at Teenage Parent High School, we offer services for students, teenage parents who are both either expecting or already have kids. So we have on-site nurseries, and those on-site nurseries we service babies all the way from 4 weeks old to 2 years old, so that students and parents can come to school and they don't have to worry about taking care of their little babies, their little ones, so that they can concentrate on finishing, their high school requirements. Again, our teenage parents, there's a lot of or a plethora of reasons as to kind of like some trauma and some background and the reasons as to why they became pregnant. I don't want to go into a lot of details, but a lot of the times it's not just your high school sweetheart situation, but some more traumatic reasons as to why they became pregnant. So we have a holistic approach in trying to well, we like to say it takes a village to raise a child, and we're trying to educate two generations in one building. So in a nutshell, that's Project More, and TAP, and encourage anybody to come visit. And if you want to hold a little baby or see a little baby, it's a good way to de-stress and hold a little one. It's pretty neat.
Great.
But
Thank
you
you, Mr. Macias. Oh,
you have to have an extra shirt just in case of the spit up though.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Macias. All right. So moving along, again, I invited all these very important stakeholders within the community, because if you're serving on the Alternative Education Committee, I think it's really important that we understand the nuances and uniqueness that we provide all students within TUSD options on a pathway to graduation. So I want to thank Ms. Sigafis, Mr. Macias, Dr. Nunez, Mr. Armenta. If you would like to stick around, you're more than welcome to, but I'd like to move to address the mission statement, where we look at that last sentence there
May
of
I ask
the,
a question?
yes, go ahead, Betsy.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
At DAPE, is that not part of what we're talking about?
So Dr. Nunez, DAPE is listed in the old charter.
Correct.
Is that
So if
something
we're
that we
following the
want to?
charter, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Dr. Nunez, are we still including DAPE under this?
Is it in the original charter?
It's in the original charter, yes.
Yes, we still serve students. Yes.
Okay, so can you briefly discuss what DAPE is for the committee members?
So DAPE is an acronym for District Alternative Education Program, and we serve students who are long-term suspended. So we have students in our program anywhere from 20 days to about 45 days. Well, 20 days to about 38 days. It just really depends on when they get their hearing, their long-term hearing. So it's a short-term program where it allows students to continue their classwork, continue their learning with the support of certified teachers. And one of the things that we've done this year is we've also included some community excursions so that they can figure out what it is they want to do to reconnect them to their education.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nunez.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yes,
Miss
go
Molina,
ahead.
yeah, did you just have a proposed mission statement that you could just share with us that's different or changing, or maybe
Yeah,
just give us
I
a
think,
specific, like, what are you trying to pull out and then what are we trying to add in, so we just
well,
stick to that agenda item?
I think we just need to pull out coal, because coal no longer exists. It's just now tuba. Tuba
Okay.
is all inclusive now. So I think we need to specifically list the names. So we have tuba, remove coal, include DAPE, specifically include Project More and TAP. I think it's important to have those specific programs listed individually within that last sentence of the mission of the charter.
I have a question
Okay.
about, removing coal. If we remove coal, does that mean that we can't, that it's not within our charter to do an evaluation of what coal was doing for students and why it's been removed and what the program now without coal is doing for, I mean, the whole change that took place?
Yeah, I think that
Are we
we
going
need
to be able to evaluate the change that took place?
I think we can, but not at this moment. I think that
No,
needs to
I
be-
understand that.
yeah.
I'm asking if we
Yes.
remove the term coal, then can we still evaluate the past of the program that we now have? To compare it.
I think we can, but Tuba is kind of superseding that now. So yeah, we can take a look back and reflect upon the successes and how Tuba has helped grow the program. I think we can do that. So we can always make that an agenda item or a study item for the next meeting.
Okay, I just really, I just wanted to make sure that if we remove the word, that doesn't mean that we're removing the subject from our own investigations.
No, we're not. Okay. Mr. Garcia, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think let me ask Mr. Armenta if I could. So where do you get your directive of what programs fall under your purview?
That comes to the superintendent.
Okay, and is that organized through the organizational chart that gets presented by the superintendent, then approved by the board?
Yes.
Okay, so I would recommend that, so we're all here for 4-year terms, and things sound like they may change. So what I would recommend is that our mission statement, instead of delineating the exact programs, instead just refers to whatever doctrine gives the assistant superintendent these programs. So even if they change, that brings us into the loop with them as the programs may change. That way our charter stays firm. So instead of listing the programs, we could just say something to the effect of, as determined by the superintendent's organizational structure under the programs of the assistant superintendent of alternative education or something
Or
like that.
we could also just change it to the alternative pathways to success programs within the district.
Yeah, that was kind of going to be
Can
my next question. If it's all kind
Okay.
of under the same umbrella of one program, instead of listing the specific programs, we can instead just make our charter an umbrella over the independent programs rather than inclusive of each one and then us having to revise every time there's a change.
Oh, that makes more sense. Would you like to make a motion, Mr. Garcia?
can I see the chart? Like what
Yes,
I
I'll
want to
share
see
my
the
screen.
flow chart.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Well, this is the charter right here.
Well, I
So,
want to see
see-
the flow chart we're talking about. The chart that has all the programs on it right now currently.
Oh,
Like
okay, so
the
that's
that
from
comes
Dr.
from the
Nunez. Okay. Dr. Nunez, can you share that slide with all the programs again?
Okay. And
Please.
also it's important to know that DAPE does not fall under the APAS programs because DAPE is specific for students who are long-term suspended. So that's the only
So-
referral that they go through. So that, I think it's important for this committee to know that.
Yeah, and
Well-
so because that's what I was thinking, and I don't think we want to exclude DAPE. Like I
No,
worked with
exactly.
DAPE students
I
all
don't
the
want to
time.
exclude DAPE. I'm with you on that one.
So where does DATE fall under the organizational structure?
It falls under the if I may apologize, it falls under the purview of the director Nunez in alternative ed.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
ACAS does not include DAPE, but these are just our alternative ed programs.
yeah,
I-
Mr. Skiba, I think what I was referring to was the organizational chart. I have it here. Is there a way I can share my screen?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing.
Oh, no problem. Sorry. Let's see.
And then I don't know if we had a motion on the table or not, if we have to exclude that now or start over. I don't think, did we? I don't think
I don't
I
think there was
stopped
a
us before I
motion.
made
Had
it.
a motion.
Yeah,
There was no
okay.
Seconded.
I'm not
No
able to
motion.
share because I didn't have the Zoom thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and put in the chat the link that I found for TUSD for the 23-24 organizational chart. And the way that I figured that it can be included in our charter is that we just refer to this as our overall purview, anything under the assistant superintendent, and that should be pretty inclusive of all these programs, right?
I'm a,
I don't know if someone can click on the link I just put in the chat who has the ability
I'll
to share
share
their
it.
screen.
I'll
Okay.
share. Okay, 1 second. Here we go. All right, let me, let's see. Okay, can you all see it now? A
Yeah.
little.
So
hard
on
to
the
see.
right-hand side, under Assistant Superintendent Leadership and Student Success, Frank Armenta, if our charter just said anything under this area's purview is within our advisory capacity, correct me if I'm wrong, but that should cover everything
But
that should be contained in our charter, right?
under that, you'll see that Project More is not listed, TAP's not listed.
I guess so then I guess even though
But
we
that
might want an easy way, I think we just have to do a hard way and list individual programs. I
and
think
can
that's
we not just say covering but not limited to? Because the organizational chart of the district changes all the time. I mean, you can look at the desegregation page and it still has the old director of the DEI department on it. So I'm not sure that you can get the simplification that you want, Mr. Garcia, by going through the organizational chart. Because it
let me,
changes.
yeah, that's good. Let me ask one question. So for TAP, who's responsible for TAP?
Mr. Macias.
Mr. Macias.
Okay, and then Mr. Macias goes to whom?
Mr. Armenta?
I oversee Mr. Macias.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying if we just label it the alternative pathways to student success
Yeah.
programs, it's just more inclusive because then, you have Dr. Nunez and DAPE, you have all the existing programs that fall under that. Who knows, maybe 2-3 years from now. But again, we just need to clarify the mission of the charter. So
Ms.
we
Molina
can,
Garcia, it should
yes.
say APAS and DAPE. DAPE does not
Okay.
fall under APAS.
Yes. Correction.
and
Thank
that hits everything, right? Just
Yes.
saying APAS and DAPE, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there will be a way to kind of articulate the differences. So that way it's still inclusive, but there is still that delineation that Mr. Garcia was talking about, right?
I
Yes.
think it sounds like, so correct me if I'm wrong. What I'm hearing is that there's not a firm district policy that delineates the scope of what constitutes alternative education. There's not like one policy I can say, oh, that is what tells me this is the umbrella of alternative education. So is there anything written or and adopted by the board to that effect?
I guess we should write it.
Okay, Dr. Shaw, since you're our board representative, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. Personally, I think we should keep the charter as detailed as possible. I don't think that many people know what constitutes the alternative pathways to success programs. When I was drafting this charter with the help of Council Ross, he, guided us to be as detailed as possible so that there's no confusion when members of the public are reading the charter. So I would recommend outlining or naming the programs that we would like to, I guess, look into. And I would like to also point out like the scope, under the mission is to make recommendations to the governing board regarding the effectiveness of the district's alternative education programs. And so, you know, like Ms. Putnam Hidalgo mentioned about COLE not being a program anymore, but we can still review it. And so, you know, I'm more apt to keep the word even or the name of that program, even though it's not there. But of course, that's your all's purview to decide on that. But certainly, I do feel like we should keep the names of the programs within the charter instead of grouping them into the overall alternative pathways to success name.
So how about we do a blending? It could be alternative pathways to student success, TUVA, TAP, Project More, credit recovery. For me, I'm hesitant to specifically name COLE because COLE might be confusing for people because we have TUVA. Not to say that we're going to just get rid of COLE, but COLE is no longer a functioning program within the district since it's TUVA. I don't know, thoughts about the
just wanted to
combination?
follow. Yeah, I just want to follow up on one thing. So I just want to be very clear. So there is no district policy delineating what constitutes an alternative education program. That's what I heard. Okay. So with that, the scope of our committee is the scope of what our work can be. So by excluding names or being general in our mission, I don't think that we're cutting ourselves at the knees by saying we have oversight of this group or not this group or whatever. My point with being general in the mission is not what gives us our oversight authority. The scope of our committee's responsibility gives us that oversight authority, and it is not specific. So I think we're kind of tying ourselves into a knot thinking about which program should be included in our mission when our mission should be general as possible. In my opinion, it should be our committee is to give the district leadership oversight of the district's alternative education program's hard stop. I don't think it's necessary for us to justify us looking into this program or that program to say this program or that program is included in our mission statement. Does that kind of make sense?
I think what Miss Shaw was, oh, go ahead. There's a lot of people with hands raised. Sorry.
Okay.
If I
Ms.
could just
Sigafus?
respond to that, in the scope, there is I guess outlining that you can also look at the need for additional alternative programs or the need to modify any of our existing programs. And so there's kind of language within the existing charter to go like above and beyond what we have outlined or what we're doing already if need be.
The mission statement itself doesn't define what we're limited to actually advising on. That's my point.
I think you can get around it by just naming the programs and saying including but not limited to. Because the other thing that happens is that the district comes up with whole new programs. And if we end up 2 years into our work and the district says, okay, we're done with TUVA, we're going to try something new now, it should not matter that it's not specifically named in our charter. And so the golden words, you know, including but not limited to, would allow us to continue our work.
I think we're on the same page. I don't think we want to limit ourselves. And I think the way we do that is just by making it as general as possible. That would
I'll
be my
tell you my
recommendation.
fear about making it as general as possible. And in
Sure.
doing so, I will completely expose myself to this group. It is not clear to me that the district administrative offices even want our oversight. And so if we make
Okay, we're going to move the discussion
unclear-
along now, Bets. Okay,
I'm
thank you.
sorry?
We're going to
Hold
move the
on.
discussion along.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, Ms. Sigafus, you had your hand raised, please.
Oh, I just wanted to let Mr. Garcia know that if the district does not have that for what can be an alternative school, the state does. There is paperwork we have to fill out every year to become an alternative school with the state. And the state
Yeah.
has to approve us to be alternative. So even if the district doesn't have it, I just want to let you know that the state does.
Right. And that's, yeah, what I'm talking about and what the state defines alternative education are kind of two different things. What I'm trying to recognize is whether the district has a commonly grouped organization of programs that are defined as the alternative education umbrella. It sounds like there is one. And I'm going to go back to recommending that we keep the mission as general as possible. I would also recommend that all members have an opportunity to be heard within a reasonable time. Somebody who has a different opinion shouldn't be silenced from giving their opinion when it comes to matters of business of the committee. So I just wanted to.
And I agree with that, Mr. Garcia, but we also have to move this whole thing along as well. So Ms. Hernandez or Boba, I need your advice on this. Again, this is my first rodeo, Mr. Garcia, so I'm just asking for patience at this time. Okay. Yolanda or Vanessa, trying to move along, but also honor people's opinions and thoughts. What are my options?
You can either just table the discussion and bring it back to the next meeting and continue. If there's somebody that makes a motion, you can move on with the motion. If you get a second, then you can do a roll call vote or however you want to do it. But you can stop here if you still feel that there's more discussion that needs to take place, then we can take that to the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, Mr. Skiba.
Okay, I can see we're all wanting to try to come up to a solution. I think you're right that we should probably table this to a next time kind of thing to give us all time to think about what we really want. I'm opposed to a general statement just because of like kind of like a marketing standpoint. Like I want people to read about what we do and reach out to us like, hey, oh, my kid is at TAP or my kid is at Project More. And so then I could reach out to this committee and then we could get advice from the community. And I also want to add that I do believe everyone here has good intentions, right? So I don't think anybody's like not going to listen to us and not take our advice. I think we all have good intentions. We want to see TUSD grow and our students to learn.
Okay. I think at this point, we probably need to table this discussion because obviously there's a lot of different thoughts and opinions on this. I do think that Mr. Garcia is correct that we do need to also look at the scope. I think that that's something that we need to move to our next meeting where we can definitely discuss how does the scope influence our mission statement. But as someone who works in the alternative programs, I do think it's important for marketing, like you said, Mr. Skiba, that we look at, what makes us stand out from the rest, because there's a lot of other programs out there, but I have to say they're not as inclusive let's just say inclusive as the TUSD programs are, because I've come from different programs and I know what's out there. And Bets Putnam Hidlago, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's already going to be 7:22 and we're still talking about a sentence. So I move to table this discussion to the next meeting where we can have time to
second.
Okay. All in favor? Say aye.
Real quick before we vote, I just wanted to ask one question about the motion. So what exactly do we want to table for next month? Is it exclusively the mission, or are we going to table just so the committee members can be prepared?
Yeah, so let's table discussion to discuss, hopefully finalize the mission and the scope, because I think those two work hand in hand.
Okay, I would also recommend, and this is just for our own personal edification next time, to talk about the application to serve process moving forward. I know we had communicated about that briefly. I just want to make sure that we circle back to the committee and talk to them about that specific provision in our charter.
We weren't allowed to discuss that until those individuals have been approved by the board.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of tabling this discussion to include the mission and the scope for the next meeting? All in favor? Or
Aye.
wait,
Aye.
okay, aye,
Yes.
aye. Okay,
I
Aye.
abstain,
Aye.
one
Okay.
abstention.
okay, one abstention. Okay,
No, I abstain as well.
okay. All right. Okay,
I'm sorry, Miss Melina Garcia.
Mhm.
With the abstentions, was that Betts and I couldn't catch the other?
Vanessa Garcia.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Were you able to get all the names?
Sorry, there's still an attendee in the room. If we can move them to be a panelist.
I tried to move her and it's not giving me the option. I can allow her to speak, but it wasn't giving me the option to move her as a panelist. Ms. Labosha, are you there?
Did you unmute her?
I'm asking her to unmute and she's...
Okay.
Ms. Labosha?
Hello? Hello.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard everything. I've been trying to enter and be a part of this, but I would like to abstain as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So repeat, we'll discuss the mission and then the scope for our next meeting. Our meeting will be set for, Yolanda, do you have the date or do you want us to set the date for the next meeting?
Can I, is there room to make a proposal or to ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Short answer, at this pace, if we meet every 2 months, we will never achieve very much. I'm wondering if we could meet monthly.
That would be Vanessa and Yolanda.
So that would be up to commute. I can't, Ms. Shaw, if you can remind me on the charter, do you have it bi-monthly or?
I think it's set out as at least bi-monthly.
Okay.
So it sounds
Yeah.
like it would be the discussion
I mean,
committee.
you can always add meetings as a committee, and as part of that charter discussion for the next meeting, you can change that as well. But if you feel right now that you need to add, another meeting, you can do that as a committee if you all approve to hold another meeting within that month.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sharing the meeting requirements. It says committee shall meet at least bi-monthly. As long as we adhere to the open meeting laws, it shouldn't be a problem. Does anyone want to make a motion to meet next month?
I would like to move to meet next month.
I would recommend that we wait off on that. I agree maybe to do another meeting, but I think that would be more appropriate later on in the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, so under 6, the committee may add or consider adding, canceling, or rescheduling future meetings. So I would recommend we move on to 5.02, and I think the committee might get some good use out of the remaining time talking about 502.
Okay. Yes. So I thought we were in 502. So I guess let's go to 601 then. So Ms. Shaw, you have your hand raised?
Yes,
Wait.
I just just wanted to point out 502, we are still on it. It was
Okay.
brought to my attention that if we, you know, if we meet monthly or bi-monthly, it is a lot of work for the board staff to do a meeting right before our scheduled governing board meeting. And so, yeah, if we were going to move it to a monthly meeting, I think maybe if the committee would like to consider moving the day so that it doesn't follow directly a governing board meeting, which is always on a Tuesday. And I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, because I think in our last discussion, we were looking at different days and Monday seemed to be the only day that worked. And I think that's why we had to go 2 months out because you have different other committees. Yolanda
For
or
sure.
Vanessa?
Yeah, so we have the Employee Benefits Trust Committee meets every month on a Monday, and it's usually the first Monday of the month. Your Audit Committee and the Bond Oversight Committee meet the third, well, Audit Committee meets the third Wednesday of every month. The Bond Oversight Committee meets the third Thursday of every month. The Budget Advisory Committee meets, I believe theirs is on Thursdays. Vanessa, was that on Thursdays?
Yes, it's usually on Thursdays or Fridays.
And it's usually, I think, around the third or the fourth of those months, right?
Yes, and they do schedule more frequent meetings depending on budget priorities with the governing board.
Okay. So it looks like Wednesdays and Thursdays are out.
Well, it just depends on the, just depends on the meeting of the month. So like I said, those, those ones are usually the third Wednesday and Thursday. So
okay, we could go maybe the second or fourth.
Yeah.
And then I was going to say, when is the typical board meeting? It's Tuesday. Is it like always the second Tuesday of the month
So
kind of thing?
typically the board meets the second Tuesdays and the fourth Tuesdays of the month. I mean, however, there's some where it might, you know, last week we had a meeting which was out of the ordinary, and then we have one tomorrow. Next month we have our first meeting of the month is going to be on a Monday, but usually they do fall the second Tuesday and the fourth Tuesday of the month.
Is this something that could, according to open meetings laws, is this something that could be done through internet in between meetings? Like somebody could set up one of those handy dandy little charts and we could all fill in our availability instead of, or is that not considered open enough for open meetings?
Yeah, we can send something out to the committee and do a poll to see the availability of each of your times and dates, and then if you want to do it by majority, then we could do it that way. Or
okay, what if we go in another meet, not in July, meet in August, get everything scheduled, because next month is going to be a very fast and furious meeting because it's going to be the start of the school year. And I know there's going to be a ton of meetings. I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking of availability with everyone. That will give us time as well, but I do understand. I don't, let's just, I guess, fill out the chart and then see where we can go. And then if people are available, and then based upon who can attend, maybe we can do next month. But I'm thinking maybe second Wednesday of the month. That seems.
I kind of want to put a motion in to just meet every month on the third Monday and kind of just go from there. That's what I think we should do, because the second Mondays seem to suck for the board meetings, and then everybody else seems to be on the third week. So we could do the fourth week, but I wouldn't. I guess we can send out a poll, but then we're all going to come back 2 months from now and realize that there's 10 or 12 of us here and none of us line up at all. So shouldn't we just set a date and try to commit to it? Like that's sort of what I advocated for last. I mean, I'm on vacation in Wisconsin and I'm still here. So
Yeah. Well, if someone would like to make a motion.
I just want feedback from Miss Barbara and Miss Hernandez. Would you guys rather us be like on the third or the fourth Monday of every month? Like, what's going to take workload off you two or off of the board? I hope you're understanding what I'm saying.
So the 4th probably would not, because that would be right before the.
Yes, that would be right
Which
before
would
the
be on a
meeting.
Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, that would be bad. So
Yeah.
then the first, second, or third, which one of those would be better?
So the first would be EBT, right, Yolanda?
Yeah, EBT usually meets the first Monday of the month. So that would
Okay,
just
so we don't
leave
want
the
to do that then.
3rd. And
that would.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion. So
I already
I'd like,
made a motion. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know how this all fits in, but anyway, I don't care. Go ahead.
yeah, I just I think I'm hearing what people are saying. I just would like to make a motion, see what happens. I don't, if it works, it works. If it doesn't. So I'd like to move to have the board staff provide the committee via email 3 to 4 dates that they would be available to support us meeting within the next 2 months. And from there, we can organize via email to say, yeah, this date works best for this month, that date works best for that month.
I second that motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, am I allowed to second that motion?
yes.
I'll second
Okay.
it if not. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Bets. All in favor of Mr. Garcia's suggestions, say aye.
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 Nay.
Aye.
Okay.
Abstain.
There was one nay.
Nay.
Okay. Any abstaining?
I was the abstention. I abstained.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yolanda, did you get everyone's names?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so the motion has passed. We will wait to hear back from our awesome governing board staff. They will send us out information and hopefully we can come to a consensus on a date. Okay, thank you, Mr.
So
Garcia, for that motion.
does this mean that we don't have a meeting planned for Monday 2 months from now?
I think let's go ahead for due diligence. Let's go ahead and schedule a meeting for Monday, August. Let me look at the. How about Monday, August 12th, 6 p.m. if we cannot meet sooner than that.
Just that is the day before our board meeting, so.
Oh, okay. How about August 5th?
No,
Or do you prefer the 19th?
I think she said the 19th.
Okay. So Monday, 8/19 at 6 p.m. if we cannot meet sooner. Okay. All right. So we have our future meeting date. Our agenda item is going to be hopefully finalizing the mission and the scope. And then we will also discuss Bets Cole. Would you like to discuss Cole?
I just would like to I'd like to figure out what this committee is going to do. And so I would like to see comparative data on how these programs, how the kids were doing when these programs did not exist, how the kids are doing now that the programs do exist. And I would also really like to see a racial breakout on the numbers.
Mr. Armenta, are we
programs?
Okay. Mr. Armenta or Dr. Nunez, are we able to access that information, or Ms. Sigafus?
That would have to be through our accountability and evaluation if that's what the committee wants. Again, as I stated, this information was presented to the board October 2012 of the benefits of going to TUVA and Cole. So we could go back and look at that board presentation that was provided to the board when they took action on that, on the benefits of TUVA and Cole. So, we could do that.
Okay, so I'm wondering, Yolanda or Vanessa, can we get that video link and then put it in the agenda so that way people can view that meeting? And then if they have any other questions or concerns, we can follow up with that instead of spending an hour watching it in a meeting here?
The video from the board meeting, you mean? Or
Yes.
it's all on board docs. So what
Okay.
date? I can send everybody the exact date, and then we can direct you to the board docs item for that date.
Okay, yeah. So I think when you send out the chart, if you could send that link to that meeting that talks about the transition from Cole to TUVA, I think that would help clarify why the district is going in that direction. And then maybe that can give us insight on how we look at the alternative education programs and the umbrella it falls under.
Okay.
All right. So again, to recap, we'll be meeting on Monday, August 19th at 6 p.m. If hopefully sooner than that. Our next meeting agenda will be hopefully finalizing the mission and the scope. And then we will all be receiving the link to the video as to this shift from Cole to TUVA. And hopefully that can clear up any issues. Yolanda or Vanessa, do I contact A&E or do you contact A&E for the data that Ms. Betts Putnam Headlago is
We can
requesting?
contact Annie.
Okay, perfect. All right.
And how do we as committee members suggest agenda items? Is there a way to do that? I think I saw 48 hours before the meeting that could be proposed.
If you can send them to the chair and maybe copy myself and Vanessa, that way we can both have what you're wanting on the agenda.
And you can include Mr. Garcia in that as well.
Correct, Mr. Garcia as well. I'm sorry.
And do we, I'm sorry for my ignorance, do we have emails for everyone?
I sent out, and I can send it out again tomorrow because I actually have your updated email and then Ms. Chilius's updated email address as well. So I can send the list out again tomorrow to everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to offer, are we able to take agenda items for next meeting at this time?
Yeah.
Okay. What I would recommend are two agenda items. I think just from some discussion with other committee members, these might be helpful. So a discussion agenda item to discuss as a committee what information we would like to request from the district. It looks like a lot of people have different interests in exactly what information we need to be looking at. So I think if we just have maybe a 20-minute discussion available on next agenda to go over what the committee members would like to see in terms of information, that might help us get the district a better idea of exactly what we're looking for. The second thing that I would recommend we add is an agenda item to discuss committee goals. I know we're talking about charter, but I think it would be good for us to just sit down as a group, maybe for a little bit of time to hash out exactly what our goals maybe year to year are. So maybe by the end of this year, what type of deliverable do we want to provide to the district, or where do we want to be as a committee type discussion would be helpful at the next meeting. Yeah, those two items I would recommend.
Okay, yes, let's go ahead and place those items on the agenda.
All right.
Okay.
Ms. Garcia has her, Vanessa
yes.
Garcia has her hand up.
Yes, Ms. Garcia. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if we can add space for board members to ask questions about the programs that were presented tonight, because I think questions were coming in and there were questions that we didn't have time to get to because it wasn't on the agenda. So making sure that we provide that space.
Okay, perfect.
And then I just had a question about, as we're deciding, as a group, what information we're requesting, are we going to vote on what we're going to be spending time in, like researching and getting more information on? Like, are we going to vote on that? Because, for example, spending time on coal, which does not exist anymore, does not seem to me like the best use of time when we're limited in time. And so as a board, are we going to vote before we spend time on things?
Yes, I think we should do that. And I'm in agreement with you because coal does not exist, but I also want Bets to also have her questions answered about why the shift from coal to tuba.
Can I just add that it's not that coal doesn't exist. Coal just had a name change. That's all it is. The entire program is still there in its entirety. I feel like we've made some improvements because we've been able to back it with a little more support by teaming it with Tuva. But I do really want to make sure the board understands that coal does exist. It now has a different name. So
and we have many staff members.
Yeah,
we have many staff members from coal still working under the umbrella of Tuba. Ms. Shaw?
Thank you. I was hoping to suggest a future agenda item if the committee could perhaps look into DAPE and how the maximum number of days for students to attend DAPE is 45 days when our maximum long-term suspension time is 180 days. And so maybe if the committee can provide the board with some recommendations on it, we should keep that 45-day max or perhaps extend it so that students who are long-term suspended can, I guess, get the full benefits of the program. And also found out at the last board meeting that in the past, before TUBA was incorporated, students who were long-term suspended could utilize like COLE or some of like the TUBA online learning programs. And now after TUBA was incorporated, they're not able to. And so how can we support our students who are long-term suspended within the frameworks of the alternative education programs and how we can just connect them to the resources?
Can you respond to that about the long-term suspended kids at Tuba?
And I just want to, just to get us straight on the open meeting law, this agenda item, we shouldn't have too much discussion on suggestions.
Okay, perfect.
Just because, yeah, we got to stay within the confines of the suggested.
Perfect. Okay, we can discuss that next meeting then. Okay, and it looks like we'll be welcoming a few people back, Ms. Sigafis, Dr. Nunez, probably Mr. Armenta again, to kind of guide us through these questions on the alternative programs, and definitely DAPE, because that falls under Dr. Nunez. Okay.
Ms. Labosha had wanted to talk about concerns from the last meeting, and we can add that to the next agenda as well, because it's not really an agenda item for tonight. If we can add that, because I know she had concerns that she wanted to bring up.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'll be agenda item number 8, concerns from previous meetings.
Yes.
I think that should probably be the first agenda item.
Okay.
Okay, so I think
I have a quick question. If Bets were to, if there was an email sent out to the entire group, is that a violation of open meeting laws for this committee? If we were to communicate in full with the entirety of the committee, is that a violation?
Doing it for scheduling.
Yolanda,
go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I was wondering if you wanted to address that question.
Oh, I thought you were gonna, I'm sorry. Yeah, if there was probably concerns, it should either probably be sent to us and we can distribute it out to the committee. That way you're not responding back to one another. As soon as you start responding back to one another, then that's where you're going to start breaking open meeting laws. So it might be best to send it to Vanessa and myself, and then we can send it out to the committee.
Does that answer your question, Ms. Labosha?
Yeah, I think I'd like a number because if Betts emailed Garcia and also the chair, is that a violation? Is that number 3, the 3 committee members, would that be a violation of open meeting laws?
No, because I think you're at 9 right now, so it would be, unless it's 5, correct?
If I
Yes, it would have
may,
to be a majority.
Yeah.
if I may, because I run at my job at the Arts Foundation, I run one of the city's subcommittees, and so if only 2 committee members can speak on one specific agenda item, any more, even 3 would be like a sub-quorum, and so I would recommend for all of you committee members, of course, the chair and the co-chair are going to be talking about the agenda, setting the agenda, but yeah, to add another committee member, I believe would be kind of creating a sub-quorum. And so I would just recommend keeping discussion between 1 or 2 of you on any specific item. And then Ms. Barboa reaches out to all of you via BCC so that anyone who responds will not be responding to the entire group. And so.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for your clarification.
Of course.
Okay. All right, Ms. Labosha, does that clarify it for you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, may I please have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Okay. And Yolanda, do I do a vote on this?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, all in favor of making a motion to adjourn this meeting at 7:51 p.m., say aye.
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 Okay, all righty, thank you. Yolanda, did you get everyone's names?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I want to say thank you everyone for showing up tonight. We appreciate you being on this committee. I know we have a lot of work to do, but really this is technically our first real meeting, so we'll get everything in order here and moving along. But again, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. We greatly appreciate you. Have a good night.
Congrats on your first meeting.
Oh, thank you. You too. All right. Have a good evening, everyone.